Well, I wrote in my column last week in the Daily Herald that I thought this Timpview team was the best Timpview team I've ever seen. So now I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to ask Jared, how do you think this team stacks up against other great teams in Utah prep football history?
Well, I think that there's a lot of people that want to hand this team a, overall award as maybe one of the greatest ever, and I could understand that. There was talk of how they should go play against junior college teams or something like that. Okay. But I just don't know how they would stack up against the other really great teams of the past. I think it's impossible to compare because you don't see them go up against each other. You don't see them face the same type of adversity with injuries and scheduling and who else is in the classification and things like that. I just don't see a way to really compare it overall in my mind.
So you're not going to compare it?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's impossible.
I will compare it because I would put the Timpview team in the top 3 teams that I have seen, and I have been covering state football for 17 years now, so I'm not going to go back further than that because I didn't see those teams. But clearly, to me, this is one of the top 3 teams. I think the East team, we were talking about this, I believe it was 96 or 97.
96 or 97, yeah.
Shut out Timpview in the finals. That team was awful good. Skyline had some great teams. Bingham team last year, I think, has to go up there. They were
well, Northridge had a couple of really good teams.
Yeah, I'm not putting Northridge up there, sorry. I'm not going to do that. But I just think, and the one thing that I would say about Timpview this year is I do think the competition was down a little bit in 4A. I think the region was down, and so that makes me hesitate a little bit to say they're the greatest ever. But if you look at what they did going through those playoffs and how they handled people, I mean, I don't know how you can say that they weren't one of the top teams of all time.
Well, that's how the only way you can say it is by saying you can't compare them, and that's my stance right there.
I wish that they would play Alta or Bingham. I wish they could have played them, and I wish they would play them a week after. Set it up for
play
charity.
Alta and see
do a fun
4A,
5A, 4A game. That'd be a lot of fun.
That would be fun to see how they'd stack up. Well, the state title games all happened on Friday. That means the year in football, the high school football season, is officially over. Neil, is that good or is it bad?
Well, I think it's good. I mean, it was a great year, but it's almost December. It's time to move on. Jared, I've been going to basketball games for 3 weeks now, so we've said this all along. I hate the carryover. When you have basketball going and football going, I like to be able to give football its due. But it was a great season. A lot of people had a good year, and I'm ready to move on.
I understand where you're coming from, and I think that there's any team that would have to face Timpview is probably glad the season's over with what Timpview has been doing to teams. But to me, I always kind of feel sad about the end of the football season because it's so much fun to go to your weekly football game, get there on the sidelines. The crowds are intense. They're the biggest crowds you see, week in and week out for those games. I really enjoy the football season. So when you come to the end, it's kind of bittersweet. I'm ready to move on too. I love basketball. Mm-hmm. It's time to move on.
Well, football,
but I love watching those football games.
Football's the marquee event of the whole high school season. So it is tougher to see, and it is an event on Friday.
You get the entire community.
We're getting excited on Thursday. I got a game Friday night, and it is a lot of fun to see that. And it is, but too much of a good thing can be bad too.
Well, if it went too long, we wouldn't appreciate it as much when it comes around the next season. But I do feel a little bit bad when it ends.
Well, and a lot to look forward to because a lot of the talent this year was underclassmen around.
Yeah, a lot of young guys. That should be fun to watch next season.
Well, now we turn our attention from the gridiron to the hardwood as we switch focus on our sports this week. Jared, this is a pretty quick turnaround. Football ended Friday, basketball starts Tuesday. What do you think about the turnaround?
I'm not a big fan of it, particularly because of the way it works out with having a game. Some teams have a game this week, then you've got the moratorium around Thanksgiving, and then you've got other teams starting next week. Just take this entire week off. There shouldn't be any basketball games this week. They should all move up to post-Thanksgiving. Give everybody a week to catch their breath, to enjoy Thanksgiving, not worry about the moratorium, and then start the games the week after.
We agree on something.
Well, it's pretty simple in my opinion. It's
I don't understand. You're right. I don't understand the need to play on Tuesday. I really don't. I don't get it. I mean, you're going to have Thanksgiving off, and I don't know. I don't understand why there's such a hurry to play on that first day. You have all of December, and just push it back a week and give the kids a break. And
I know they want to play this, the matchup of the state title game, the 2 state title winners, which will be fun. That's always fun. But why can't they do it a week later? Do it the next Tuesday as opposed to the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's going to be any surprise if Lone Peak comes out, recognizes the top team. They won the 5A state title last year. They've got a lot of pieces coming back. So my question for you, Neil, isn't who's going to be your number 1 team.
Okay.
Who's going to be number 2?
Well, I should tell you who my number 1 team is, Jared. It's Lone Peak.
Imagine that.
Yeah, because I know you're going to just follow me here and pick Lone Peak.
I just said Lone Peak was going to be 1. I just said that. So
yeah, but you heard me talking last week.
Is that what it was? Uh-huh.
So I'll tell you what, I'm going to say Provo right now. Why not? I mean, Provo's not a team that's going to start out and run 11 in a row off the table, but this is a team like last year that gets better. I'm saying who is the second best team? I'm not going to say in November. I'm going to say second best team overall. I like Provo.
So you think by the end of the year they might be the second best team? That's what you.
No, you're asking me to pick but I'm just putting a little asterisk by Provo, saying they could lose some early games. They only have 1 starter back, Jared. It may take this team a little time.
And they lost Chris Collinsworth, who was the heart and soul for a lot of that season.
I understand that, but they've got a kid named Brandon Davies. You ought to check him out. He's pretty good.
I know.
And they've
He's
got
pretty
another
good.
Collinsworth coming up.
I don't see them as the second best team right now.
I know you can laugh all you want, but I'm telling you, you were laughing last year when they went on a roll and they won it all.
But they went on a roll later on. They didn't. They struggled early on in the season.
They are a state champion.
There's 2 teams, in my opinion, that are above.
Really? And I know what you're going to say.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I bet you do know one of them. Pleasant Grove's going to be one of them.
Pleasant
With all of
Grove,
the returning players they've got back, with C.J. Wilcox and Craig Tucker.
How many state games have they won with all that returning talent?
They haven't won any,
0.
but we're talking this season. We're not talking last season.
You have to take that into consideration.
No, you don't.
Oh, the past doesn't matter?
Well, not right
last
now.
Year doesn't matter?
No, it doesn't
Who's
matter
coming back doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter until February. Who's coming back does matter because that's what is going to happen right now. But whether they won a state title game doesn't matter right now.
Absolutely it matters.
Okay.
If you have talent coming back from a state championship team, that matters.
Which
if you have experience coming back from a state tournament, that matters.
Well,
winning matters. Tradition matters.
Well, I know tradition matters, but it doesn't matter what they did in last February. What matters is what they're going to do in November and December.
You're not making any sense. Does tradition matter or not?
Well, tradition does matter. But what matters right now is what's going to happen in November,
Are you asking
December,
me to
January.
Pick the best team on November 20th? Okay, then I won't take Provo. But I'm saying the second best team in this valley is Provo.
Overall, that's where you're going to go.
Overall, I'm not going to say, we're not going to break them down by month. The best team in December might be Spanish Fork. The best team in January could be Pleasant Grove. But I'm saying overall, it's Lone Peak and Provo.
Okay. Well, I still think Pleasant Grove and Spanish Fork are up there above Provo for me right now.
Okay.